I call this special call meeting of the Davenport Community School District to order. Missing Kent and Allison. Why not? I heard Clyde coughing.
I just said that Allison hasn't logged on. Kent was having some problems with his internet, but I just called him and he said that he's getting ready to log on. Allison just told me that.
I'm on here.
And Allison's going to log on.
Did you hear me?
That was Kent.
No, it's Clyde.
Clyde's by phone. I hear you, Clyde.
Kent Poston
is now joining.
Okay, we now have a quorum. Okay, a quorum is now present, and we will resume the meeting. May I have a motion? Need a motion.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Linda, are you there?
Yes, can you not hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Is it okay to do the motion now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Administration recommends the board approve alternate 2 for the medical insurance plan design presented by True North. The plan will have $1,000 single deductible with 80% coinsurance effective July 1, 2020.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Director Gosa. Is there any discussion? I'll start with the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reason we're here this evening is, like we do every year, we have a new insurance quote that we have to manage. This year, we had quite a large number. It was a 16% premium increase, which was quite a hill to climb. We decided to engage a process where we asked our employee groups as to what their preferences would be in terms of how to manage and how to mitigate this particular situation. And we put together an insurance committee. At the helm was our CFO, Claudia Wood. She met with representatives of each of our bargaining units who were associated with this insurance committee. Insurance committee then, working with our consultants.
Allison Beck
is now joining.
Then put forward a survey to our staff members that gave them a few options to look at as to how to manage this, with the goal of reducing that 16% number to something that was manageable, with the idea of what does that need to look like and what was going to be palatable to our employee base. So the survey data was compiled, and as a result of that survey data brought back to the insurance committee, and then you have the recommendation in front of you here today. I thought it was very important because a number of the questions that we've been getting, not only from our employees, but from all around the community is, where did the 16% come from and how did we get to that position? So I'm going to ask our CFO, Ms. Wood, just to give us a little backstory with regard to the 16%, why that number is what it is. And then Claudia, if you wouldn't mind getting into a little bit more detail with regard to the work of the insurance committee, the results of the survey that ultimately led to this recommendation. So I'll turn things over to our CFO. Thank you, Claudia.
Sure. Good evening. Looking back at some history, we have had over the last 10 to 15 years a very healthy fund balance in our self-insurance fund. And we have used that fund balance over the last 10 years or so to absorb some of the rate increases that could have been put into place each year. The rates are reviewed each year to make sure that we are adequately funding our self-insurance fund. And we did a rate increase 10 years ago in July of 2010. and then again 5 years ago in July of 2015. We have, so it's been 5 years since we have done a rate increase. If we had done a rate increase in more incremental steps over those last 5 years, I would be fairly sure that we would not be facing a 16% increase at all in 1 year. But we have held off on that because our fund balance was able to absorb increasing health claims, prescription claims, without having to increase the premiums. We are also able to take a couple insurance holidays over the past few years in order to help with our spending authority balance in our general fund. And again, we were able to do that because our self-insurance fund had a more than adequate fund balance to absorb that. Last year, if you remember, as part of the work we were doing for the School Budget Review Committee, the SBRC, one of their requirements was that we have an actuarial study because they wanted to ensure that we were not harming our self-insurance fund in order to help reduce expenses in the general fund. So we had that actuarial study done. It's been almost 2 years ago, and that independent study did support the insurance holidays that we took in fiscal 19 and in fiscal 20.
Is now joining.
But they did indicate that after one planned insurance holiday in fiscal 21, the coming year, that our fund balance would not be able to continue
Is now
to support.
exiting.
That after fiscal 21, our fund balance in the self-insurance fund would not be able to continue to support that. So all those factors combined, we still have a good fund balance in our self-insurance fund, but looking at the actuarial review and then getting current rate projections from True North, that's where, if we did nothing with our plan design change, that's where we end up with a 16% projected rate increase. We have a pretty low deductible when compared to other school districts, other businesses and industries. So one of the suggestions from True North was to look at making some plan design changes. That was also a recommendation in that independent actuarial study that was done a couple years ago, that we really needed to look at making some revisions to our plan design. And so those are the options that True North laid out to us. And then they helped us meet with the insurance committee that was formed. Again, because of COVID-19, we had to meet remotely, so it was a little awkward, but everybody did a nice job of working with the technology. So we had representation from all of the bargaining groups in the district. And True North, Kyle Ray and Megan Miller met with us, helped answer questions for the committee, and helped explain what the different options mean. And then they helped gather input from the committee to put together the questions that were asked in the survey that was sent out to the entire staff. And then based on those survey results, True North compiled those for us, and we reconvened the insurance committee. We reviewed the survey results and had another opportunity to answer other questions that the committee members had. And then based on the recommendations from True North and the results of the survey, we compiled the recommendation that we've put before you tonight.
Thank you, Claudia. We'd be happy to take any questions from the board.
Bruce, I do have some questions or comments. This is Karen.
Go ahead, Karen.
First of all, for the record, I think taking the insurance holidays over the past 10 years played a huge role in the need to increase this premium, more so than medical inflation and claims history. So just getting that out there.
Judy Anthony.
Is now joining.
And I also would like to, in the future, look at what the cost would be if we set up our plan as single plus one, and family. I know other districts, other employers look at it that way. If that would save any money, if that would save the employees money as well as the district. Just to clarify, total comp for teachers is staying, is that correct?
When you say staying, total comp of 1.5%.
No. Teachers who take single insurance are getting a total comp. Claudia, is that remaining?
Yes, that's remaining in the contract, and part of negotiations that was not really even discussed to change that. So the intention is that I believe that that's staying.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Telemed, are we doing this? Is that part of our plan?
We are not currently. It was a discussion that came up with the insurance committee as we were all meeting remotely, just like we are right now. It's become more prevalent. It was a suggestion made by True North. They have other districts and other clients that use telemedicine. It's another option for us to look at to help reduce our costs.
Oh, so it wouldn't cost our plan if we went to a telemed feature?
Kyle might be able to explain that better than I'm doing, but it's another way to deliver healthcare services at a lower cost than an in-person visit at the doctor's office.
Okay, thank you. Also, I see that the survey was on deductible options, but we did not survey on out-of-pocket max. Is that correct?
The options were all laid out in the survey. I was in the memo that I wrote to you. I was just trying to summarize so that it wasn't pages and pages long. But the layout that you've got on that one page, the alternate plan design modeling page that you received, that's the information that was laid out to the staff in the survey. So they did see all this information.
Okay. And this will be all employee groups, including retirees, will be on this same plan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But each employee group is going to decide how they pick up the $40 or $85, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Director Gosa.
I just kind of want to echo what Director Klein Jerome had said. The insurance holidays seem to be a main factor in this, so I hope in the future that we look at different options for this. And then one other question I kind of had, and I don't know if anybody's going to have that answer for me, but do all of our employees participate in this, or do some opt out and then get that put onto their check or something like that? Or is everybody a participant that we employ within this district with this plan?
It varies by the bargaining group. For example, the clerical group has the option to opt out, and it's usually because they're on a spouse's coverage, and they can get an annuity in lieu of the insurance. It varies by bargaining group, but different bargaining groups do have different options to opt out. But we do cover the majority of our employees.
Okay, so I guess to go on that a little more, if they're able to opt out, that gives us less people participating in the plan, and that increases cost as well, right?
That's correct. We did make a requirement referencing Karen Klein Jerome's question about total comp. Years ago, when that was put into place, one of the requirements was that all teachers would take and be covered at least by single insurance. So our largest bargaining group of teachers all have cover, all are on our insurance plan.
Okay. At some point in time, Claudia, could you provide to the board how many people are actually utilizing our insurance and how many people opt out, so we kind of have an idea overall?
Yes, I can get that for you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. This is Allison.
Go ahead, Allison.
Of the 1,523 who participated in the survey, what percentage of our employees is that? How many employees are there that could have participated?
Let me look at that. It was over half, and True North was very surprised and pleased by the response rate. I would say it's roughly about 62% of our employees.
Okay. Thank you. And I think, one other question. So, non-bargaining employees like administrators and other non-bargaining employees also participate in the same health insurance plan. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Clyde, do you have any questions?
No.
Linda?
I'm fine, thank you.
Kent?
Can you hear me?
Kent, do you have any
No,
questions?
I don't have any. No, I don't have any questions.
There's
Can
no
you hear
further
me?
questions. Who is that? Dan?
Mr. President, I think we have some people that were on the insurance committee that I would like to hear from as well on
Yeah, you
what
can
some of the
speak.
thoughts were.
Claudia, would you be so kind as to introduce any member of the insurance committee that happens to be with us this evening, and certainly be interested in their perspective?
Sure. There's a couple attendees that are just listed by phone number, so I'm not sure who they are. But I do see Judy Anthony is on. She was one of the members on the committee, as well as Jamie Kroger and Erica Goldstone. And like I said, I'm not sure who the other two numbers are that are in attendance, but Judy Anthony is on.
Sorry, I couldn't get my mic to work. I'm the chapter chair for the paras, and I guess my biggest question would be, single coverage for paras has never been something that we've had to pay for. So I guess my question would be, in this new plan, would single coverage for paras have to be paid? And I guess would it have knowledge of how much that might be?
Judy, that'll be something that will have to be negotiated when we get back to negotiations. And, once the board takes action tonight and we know what our rates are going to be, then we can go back to the table. It really is up to each bargaining group how much of the increase is going to be borne by the employees and how much by the district. It all becomes part of the 1.5% total package increase.
Right, okay, thank you.
Sure.
Other questions or comments from anyone?
Claudia, this is Karen. So the most like for the paras, the most they would be paying, say for a single would be 40. We're just dealing with the increase. Is that correct?
Well, that could be the scenario. I would hate to say that absolutely is going to be what happens. The group could decide to pay even more toward insurance in order to receive a higher wage increase their IPERS wages. That's something that we'll be discussing when we get back to the bargaining table.
Okay.
Any other questions from anyone? Comments? Then we'll move to the vote. Director Hayes,
Yes.
Director Gosa,
Yes.
Director Postian,
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome,
I'm abstaining. I purchased district insurance, so I will abstain.
thank you. Director Mayfield,
Yes.
Director Beck,
Yes.
and my vote is yes, the motion carries. This meeting is now adjourned.